All right, everyone, it is Tuesday, September 6th, 2016. It is 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and this is Advancement Live. I apologize for our 6-minute delay. We're just hammering out some technical difficulties. I'll bring in my guests right away. Robin and Tim, you've got a few students who have joined you on campus this weekend, huh?
Yes, we think that might have clogged up our wireless network here. So we were a little slower to respond than we thought. So.
All right, not to worry at all. Well, this is a happy day for us. It is the birthday of Higher Ed Live. It is our golden birthday, actually. We are 6 years old on September 6th. So you're joining us for our birthday episode, and it's really an awesome one at that. Today we're talking about really creative campaigns that encourage alumni engagement. And this episode came about because Mallory from M. Stoner had met you, Tim, at the Sizzler conference for iModules and was so blown away by what Bryant is doing and said, you have to do an episode with Bryant, you have to do one. So here we are, celebrating 6 years of Higher Ed Live and doing this episode. Of course, Advancement Live is part of the Higher Ed Live network. It offers viewers direct access to the best and brightest minds in education, and you'll have the chance to hear from two of them today, who I'll introduce to you shortly. And of course, our live broadcasts allow viewers to share knowledge, to participate in discussions around the most important issues in our industry. Today's live viewing experience is powered by Maestro. It is the premier marketing tech platform for broadcasters. All episodes of Advancement Live are free. They're accessible in the video archives at higheredlive.com and also in podcast format on iTunes. And Higher Ed Live is produced by M. Stoner. I mentioned Mallory, who met Tim at the conference. They are a marketing and communications firm that works with education institutions on branding, strategy, web design, so much more. And they are offering a free webinar on analytics for digital storytelling. That's coming up on September 28th. Analytics provide us with vital information. How do we track? How do we measure our audience? So we can really extend the reach and impact of our storytelling efforts across every channel that we use. And so we're going to talk in that webinar coming up on the 28th about what do we measure, what kind of data should we use to refine our story. And so you're invited to join M. Stoner for that webinar. Registration is free, and we are tweeting out a link shortly so that you can check that one out. But today, stay with us. Check us out this afternoon for the next 45 minutes or so. Robin and Tim and we were supposed to have Tyler from Bryant. We had a last-minute change of cast. And Tim is joining us due to Tyler's sick day. So first I'll have Robin Ward say hello. She is Director of Alumni Engagement for Bryant University. Robin, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Well, great, thanks, Kim, and we're teaming it up here. So Tim is here with me on screen. We were actually all three going to be in the room, but we knew we both wouldn't fit. All three wouldn't fit on the screen. I've been at Bryant for 15 years, and as you can maybe tell by the visual, using all the new tools at our disposal don't necessarily come naturally to me. So I've surrounded myself with a good team of people who can do this, and it clearly was an effort that changed what we did, which was a very text-heavy sort of alumni outreach to be much more nimble with the use of infographics and really using our web, which is Tim's purview, and I'll have him introduce himself, and our social media. So been at Bryant for a long time, love it here, great school, all the best. But the main thing is that we're engaging our alumni, I think, in new and creative ways, and so that's what we're here to talk about today.
Awesome.
So can I have
Tim, you make the magic happen from the creative back-end technical side. We couldn't do it without the tech behind the scenes.
I
right?
do. Magic's all at the fingertips. But my name is. Thanks for having us today. My name is Tim Dumont. I'm the manager of online alumni engagement at Bryant University. Be here in about just a little over 2 years, coming up in October. So during my short time here, it's been fantastic. Robin's great to work for, and she allows us to look for creative solutions to problems, and this happened to be a team effort and a great creative solution to a problem that we needed solving.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for introducing yourselves, and we will let folks know that as you're watching along this afternoon, we'll have some folks who watch live, some who watch later on the recording of this episode. But if you're watching live and you have a pressing question, or if you've seen another campaign that's really awesome, today we're talking about the One Thing for Bryant campaign, and we're really going to dive into how that all came together from the initial concept to really rolling it out. But if you have questions about it, if there's something that's on your mind when it comes to engaging alumni, please do tweet those out. I tweeted a link to what we're talking about earlier today on the Higher Ed Live hashtag. So use that hashtag, ask your questions. We really want this to be an exciting 45 minutes or so of conversation back and forth. So I will just jump right in with you, Robin, and ask, how did hashtag 1, which is the number, thing, number 4, Bryant, come to be? Was it all done in-house? Did you have to outsource? Kind of take us through the birth story on our birthday. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We forgot the cake, though, Kim. I don't know.
Not good for our waistlines.
We absolutely. This was an in-house campaign. We operate, as many offices do, on a pretty lean and mean budget. And for some time, and we've been seeing some creative things out there. I mean, we look at things. My graduate school did something that was still pretty text-heavy, some bullets. What we had in the past, our alumni opportunities that we would hand out at events, all very text-heavy. So we were looking for a way to have something that we could use across channels that would be catchy, would be bright, would be concise, and just really grab people. So we put together, actually, I think 14 originally. Wow. Of things that people could do for Bryant, and then we took it across to our university relations team, and we, clearly the creative and some of the other things that we're doing, the video that's come out of this, have all been done in-house. So the creative team went to work and the editing team over there went to work and narrowed us down to 10, and well, we could live with that, and also really helped us, just get to the heart of the matter. What are the 5 or 6 words that we want to use for these? Hire talent, hire Bryant, share your expertise, visit campus. Those kinds of things. So it was done in-house. I think that we started with this idea probably, at the end of last year, going into this school year. We were finally ready with sort of our first go-round. We launched in our April Alumni Bulletin, which is our print newsletter. So we put it out in print first, and we're just beginning to roll out the social and some of the others. But Tim has been using it on the web. So it is an in-house effort. With anything in higher ed, we can't say we were the first ones to think of this. There are some other infographics out there. Interestingly, our university relations office had done some great infographics for our Amica Career Center, starting salary, things like that. And I think that was what showed us that, oh my gosh, we can do this in-house, because they had done those in-house. Awesome. So that was part of it.
Was it tough to narrow? Did you take in some audience feedback in your coming up with 10? Because you just said that you're not the first to do it, and I'll admit that Syracuse University is looking at what Bryant University has done and coming up with a piece for our alumni. Did you solicit their feedback at all, or did you kind of think about what you do every day in coming up with those 10 things?
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, it was like a combination of both. Okay. I know with some of the pieces, we wanted to tie back to key performance indicators so we could track that. So it was a little mix of things that we could track with the piece, in the same time find other areas where we could engage alumni that we thought would resonate with young alumni, and actually our entire alumni base. So it was kind of a mixed bag, if you will. But I thought, does that answer your question? I hope so.
Yeah, and I think it does. Sorry, Robin, did you have something more?
No, that's all right. Yeah, I think that we have our National Alumni Council has a marketing committee that was certainly looking at, how can we do things, a little bit more clearly, a little more concisely. How can we get the word out about what's important? And again, getting away from the long text, the bullet points, things like that. This was something that we thought we could all use. So, and exactly, some of them are measurable, some of them are a little less measurable, but you know, it's all part of the. If you do one of them, it's a start.
So now that it is up online, Tim, are you tracking, you know, video view? What are you tracking in terms of the online? Like, we'll talk in general about alumni engagement metrics, and I know, Robin, that there's a matrix that you follow. But in terms of, Tim, what's actually online right now, what makes you tick? What are you really looking at as this campaign goes?
Sure. So it's on our alumni website right now. It's part of our rotator within our website there. But so we're tracking page views, see how many people we drive to that particular campaign, and it's also on social. So Tyler's been instrumental in getting that those messages, and we're taking one piece and then focusing on that one a month. So we have a suite of graphics, or a suite of elements, if you will. The first two we put were static graphics, but we do have all of them individually as animations. So we wanted to try for the first time as static graphics, see what kind of feedback we got. We recently posted the Share Your Expertise and received about 1,600 likes, or 1,600 views, I should say, and about 100 or so likes or loves. So a lot of kind of engagement from the surface, either through Facebook. But I think as we move forward, I think we're going to start with using the animations, because I think, as you know, anytime you look at a Facebook news feed, something's moving. And I think a way to kind of those our followers and our social media communities, we need to have it move within the first couple seconds. So hopefully, you know, like I said, like Robin mentioned before, with a great creative team, they were able to take all the elements and animate them in about an 8 to 10 second video. So I'm hoping we'll able to roll those out soon and maybe compare those, see if we have a little bit more engagement on those moving items versus the static ones.
As you're talking, I'm tweeting the link out to your Facebook page so folks can check it out. Is that where you've seen the most interaction? Is it Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? As the social channels go, where are you finding the most success in rolling out these elements?
Right now, we've seen the most on Facebook. We have about, I think we have about.
Yeah, Facebook, we've got about 6,500 likes, followers there total. We're our Twitter is a little bit younger, and Tyler is kind of our expertise on Twitter. We're also using him on Instagram, and so that part of the campaign we're probably only 2 months into it. So we'll have more data coming along pretty soon on that. But we started out. The other thing we did, I mean, we've used it because we have a video of the whole piece. When we started with the senior class when they graduated in May at their champagne social, which is, kind of how they end the year at the president's house, champagne toast. We created a version of that, University Relations, with no music, so we could run it in the background. We've got reunion coming up. We're a little frantic. We've got homecoming reunion coming up in 2.5 weeks, and we'll be using it there, kind of so that it's always in the background, so that sort of, so it just sort of, I'm thinking of the word in Spanish and not in English. It's sort of, it gets set in your brain, so grabar.
That's right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think when they see, some of the different images that you have, they start to associate the handshake with networking with Bryant alumni, or is your mascot, I see the paws, so following your sporting events or the main entrance to your campus, like those kind of visuals. I think especially when you're talking about a millennial, a younger audience too, that's what resonates, right? I mean, is that kind of the thinking behind that one visual for each?
Yeah, I mean, I think as more and more of our alumni use social media. I mean, now you're having our students are kind of just growing up with it now. I mean, it's part of their being. It's part of their DNA. Yeah, it's part of their persona. So we need to be where they are, and they're on Instagram, and they're on Facebook, and they're on Twitter, and we need to find messaging that's going to resonate with them. And they're our future. So. Yeah, Snapchat, exactly.
Yeah.
And that one too, right? Yeah,
exactly.
And now, of course, there's Instagram. Go ahead.
Yeah. One of the things, Kim, they're so versatile is, I find that now I can, intersperse them on my PowerPoints if I'm giving a presentation, or at the lead-in to different articles in our alumni bulletin, which is now called Engage. So our alumni newsletter, suddenly we're using these little graphics as almost like footprints. So I think that it'll get really, share your expertise. Your gift counts. Visit campus. These are little subtle messages that are all important. And those, as Tim alluded to earlier, more than half of these are things that we actually measure in our alumni engagement metrics. So I don't have to get into that right now, but much of this, in addition to being measurable on our social in terms of shares and likes and just impressions, will be, actually how many more people visit campus, how many more people get involved mentoring. That's, critical. That's my bottom line, is can I increase the alumni engagement?
Well, we definitely will hop into the matrix in just a little bit, but first I wanted to talk about a day. You said this launched in written form in your newsletter in April. Also in April was Alumni Engagement Day. So talk me through what that is for Bryant alumni. Is that new? Is that something that launched because of this new campaign? Because I think that's really an exciting way to get everyone rallying around what it is that you hope for them to do.
I wish the cart was, I don't think the cart was before the horse. We changed our name from Alumni Relations to Alumni Engagement, and you may have done this.
We did that
probably.
Too.
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago. I did some benchmarking. I was, we joked around. We were Alumni Affairs at one time, and so we keep, our relationship gets more and more substantial.
It was a relationship, and now you're engaged. We say it all the time, right? Oh gosh.
So I felt strongly that, we wanted to be ahead of the curve, that it was not just about, building relationships, but it was true engagement. It was truly getting alumni involved in meaningful and productive ways. While we have some touch points, if you come to campus, we want to have you come to campus for something very specific. We want you to judge a competition. We want you to, be involved in a class, speaking to a class. So looking at how could we sort of strengthen and really add more depth to our alumni relations. So Alumni Engagement Day used to be Alumni Leadership Weekend. So now we know, alumni don't really have weekends to give to us unless it's reunion. So we rebranded it a couple of years ago, actually, for Alumni Engagement Day. And so it doesn't necessarily have to do with this, but it all ties together. It's all, how can we pull people together. When we launched this in the newsletter, we actually hadn't come up with the hashtag yet. So that's an interesting, that's, the hashtag sort of followed when we were thinking about how we're going to use it on social. But when we put it in our alumni bulletin, we basically said, you're a bulldog for life, and these are 10 things you can do. Mm. So we've had a little, that was the genesis, but we've grown. So
I'll walk through the 10 things. Like I said, I put out the link so folks can see the video. But those 10 things, real quickly, are take a visit to campus, share your expertise. I'll stop there. Do you have a set up mentoring program, or is it more so kind of a casual mentor-mentee relationship?
We do. We just, and the way we use this, we actually just soft launched Alumni Fire for our alumni. So we had been looking at different alumni programs. There's a number of very good ones. There's Campus, TAP, and there's Firsthand, and there's a number that we've looked at. Again, small budget. Alumni Fire allowed us to basically launch it with no upfront investment, and then as we get some traction, I think we'll be able to afford the back end. The other thing that we're doing, the Amica Center for Career Education, which is our career office at Bryant, has simultaneously launched, they're using Portfolium, which is a portfolio product, but also can be used by alumni. So with this Share Your Expertise, we expect to transfer, things like the shadow program and things like that. Last year, I was able to document over 4,000 alumni who were engaged in student alumni activities. And again, I mean, we're talking about an alumni base of about 40,000. So it was a good number of people. Alumni always want to help students. And so that's a big one for us.
That's huge.
And wait till you see the M&A.
Taking that one step further, not only is it sharing expertise, the third one on the list, or the third I'm reading, is hire talent and hire Bryant. So sharing those job opportunities, social media, bleeding black and gold, and being able to cheer for the Bulldogs, whether they're in the home stadium or they're out on the road. On the one, your gift counts, did you feel any pushback on that? Because there's some who are still of the mentality that there's a difference between alumni engagement and being true development officers. So any back and forth on that one, or was that a given for you?
No, that was a given too. We have always talked about participation as being the important thing, and so that's what we're trying to get at here, that it's not the size of your gift, it's the fact that you make a gift that counts, and that alumni participation is the key piece. So it's no pushback.
And then the networking and alumni events, traveling in good company, wearing your heart on your sleeve. So, of course, buying your Bryant University gear, and then really spreading the word. So is that more on the admissions side of things?
Exactly. That was one, every event we had, we used to send out this letter afterwards. When I think about all this text, the letter basically had 4 or 5 bullet points, and one of them was, kind of talk to your friends and neighbors about Bryant. Many of us work at schools that actively market for admissions. I mean, we are a very, very special place, but we are also traditionally known as a business school. We're not just a business school now, so we have to expand that sort of knowledge base, that you can come to Bryant and have a very broad, but still fairly business-centric education. You're still going to get some business courses. So spreading the word, the good experiences, it was something specifically meant to, friends and neighbors, the Friends and Neighbors campaign.
Yeah. Tim, any lessons learned with putting this online, with making it digital? I think for a lot of us, I mean, we're going to start with a physical piece, but anything that you might have done differently or had a challenge with?
I think the biggest challenge was trying to find a format where it could work together as one continuous message or individuals. So on a macro level, seeing all 10 things on either a printed piece or all 10 things in a video, or breaking those down so that if you wanted to extract just one of those things and highlight one of those things on our social media channels or email or our website, to take one of those things and have that stand alone. I think that was the challenge. But then working with our university relations team, and they're so very talented in terms of how certain colors, I mean, there's colors in this piece that don't exist on our site. We're black and there we go. We're black and gold. And we've tried to institute some color into this one. So now we have oranges and greens.
Looks like a Monopoly board.
Yeah, it looks like a game board, which I thought it's a very colorful piece. It's a lot different from like I said, the two-tone pieces that we've been doing. So just to kind of inject that color and inject that enthusiasm into this piece, and have it work together, like I said before, one as a whole, and then as individual parts, I think was crucial. And but it was challenging to try to come up with a modular piece. It's these things, it sounds good in theory. You're like, okay, well, we're going to put together a minute and a half or a minute video, and we're going to have 10 seconds, and it's all going to work. And it doesn't always just work, and you have to work at it. So to come up with the messaging there, to boil it down from 14 to 10 and to have it work and have those animations make sense and not animating something for the sake of animating it, and tying it all together, which our folks at UR can do. Like I said, it's been good.
Let me jump in too. One other thing that is important with this, and this was, I had to come full circle because there's very little information on this card. So this is our handout at alumni events. I don't know if people can see it, but again, I was going from all these, contact this person and that person and email and this and that. This basically sends you to our website. So then that comes back to Tim, because if we're driving them all to our website, then we've got to make sure that the website responds and answers and helps them get to the right place. So rather than having a 2-page full of text, this is who you contact for this, this is who you contact for that, we've gone to, alumni at bryant.edu, or, the alumni connect.bryant.edu/get involved, or get involved is what, I don't have my glasses on. But that, and we actually developed this, I think, before we had the One Thing for Bryant hashtag set. So our next version of this has to hashtag it as well.
Yeah, gotta continue that that social media branding.
Yeah,
get that in there. You bet. I'm hearing a little echo from myself. Causing that, but I'm hearing myself back through your computer now. So hopefully that will be it's gone now. So just a little Google snafu.
Okay, good.
Anywho, so let's talk a bit about the alumni engagement matrix that you've come up with. And of these 10 things, how do you measure every one of them? Kind of what does that look? Take us through that, because I think so many of us struggle with how do we show that what we do is important, and how do we track it?
Yeah, so important. Now, I came into this role, I've been in higher ed for over 30 years, and my background was actually in fundraising. So I was very used to measuring and being measured. I've been the director of alumni engagement now for 10 years at Bryant, and we looked to see how could we measure and see if we were moving the needle, if we were making changes. And there are some other schools out there that are doing some interesting things. I ended up picking up on a model that Amherst College was using, and we've adapted it, and I presented it at CASE, I think 2 years ago, at the January District 1 CASE conference. So we measure 9 points of engagement. We give them equal weight. And those points of engagement are all things that we can document in our enterprise-wide database. So we're our advancement services team. I mean, it truly is taking a village here. Our team documents, every person who visits campus that we know about, every person who attends an alumni event, anyone who volunteers to mentor. We don't necessarily, there are a few that we don't. I mean, if you hire someone from Bryant, we don't capture that. We absolutely capture visits and the people who travel with us. There are a few that we're not trying to capture everyone who's following us on social, for instance. That's a little bit too much of a moving target. But these 9 metrics are, so we look at that from year to year. And we want to see growth in people doing not just one thing, although we're asking people to do one thing, but sort of the 1 to 3 or 4. And we've seen this last year, even without this, we had a 9% increase in alumni who were engaged in 1, 2, or 3 activities during the course of the year. I'm with this campaign, I'm anticipating and going to set a goal for myself that the increase is almost twice that. I mean, I think that we can really inch those numbers up, more than inch them up, move them up. But that's so that those 9, nobody gets all 9, but have a few people with 8, 7, 6. My volunteers, it's a personal pride. They want to beat everybody else out. So they're like, who else has 7? I want 7. But they are, they're things, they are obviously making a gift. They're having, visiting campus, being a mentor. They're also attending an event, things like that. So they're all measurable, and much of that is captured by this. If people will do, at least do one thing. Some of them we may not know about, but that's the other thing we're going to be driving with social. We'd like people to tell us their stories, and we haven't done enough of that yet. I think that rolling that piece out, do something and then tell us.
And Tim, do you? I haven't noticed if you have a blog that's running off the Bryant Alumni website right now, but if they do start to share their stories, do you imagine that will go onto the site, or more so kind of be something organically that develops on social and just kind of lives there?
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. I mean, I'd like to get as much mileage of those stories as we can. I mean, for one flash in the pan, like comment on on Facebook, I would hope we could use that and either turn it around and turn it into a blog post or testimonial about the 10 things. And here's the one thing I did, or here's a couple things that I did for Bryant. So maybe that's the sequel. Maybe that's the follow-up, finding the stories of the engaged, of our engaged alumni, and tracing it back to either one of these things, or they're doing more of these things. And maybe that becomes the testimonials that we share in another print piece or in another video that we can share on social, and then just continues and continues and continues.
I think that encourages then others to share their stories so that they get featured in the newsletter, or they get featured on the website, or there's that piece of it too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have we certainly have looked at ways to develop a blog. It's on my short list. We do not have that yet. So at this point, it would be just if someone tells us their story on social, or gets back to us somehow. But that is kind of like the next step. So you're on us.
Going back to your 7s and your 8s, and I know no one has 9, but those alumni who rank very high or have a high number of points in the way that you measure alumni engagement, what's the next step for them? Are there special, I know some schools do social media ambassador programs where they get rewards for sharing, or they have ways of rewarding their most engaged alumni, or is it simply that their next step is to introduce them to someone else on campus? Like, what do you think about that most engaged pocket and how we elevate them to even another level of engagement?
Yeah, very good question. That's the first place I look when I'm looking for potential members of my National Alumni Council. I'm looking, who have I perhaps missed who's really been engaged, for instance, in one of we don't have clubs and chapters, we call them regional alumni networks, who's really engaged in New York that I'm maybe not meeting, or who's done, who's polling 6 or 7 things, and yet they live in California or Chicago. So we certainly look at that for leadership roles. I also look at those people for story ideas too. So I'm doing a lead story in our next issue of Engage, our alumni newsletter, our print piece, and I'm looking at talking about people who've done mentoring and shadowing and things like that. So, I'm looking at those people who have points in that area to say, who's had shadow students that shadow them for the last 3 years, for instance. So I can use the data and break it down and look at it individually or together. And sometimes, I'll take a look at it and if I've got somebody who's got a volunteer role with me, but they're kind of at the bottom of the barrel with only 3 activities, we gotta inch them. We've got to inch them up. We've got to work with them a little bit. So it doesn't really happen. They're all pretty engaged.
Were there any challenges to schools thinking of maybe trying this, of rolling it out? Were there challenges across maybe the College of Business feels like they have their own alumni, and the College of Arts and Sciences feel like they have their own alumni? And so is it the Bryant University alumni, or is it the College of Business alumni? So any challenges there?
Luckily enough, we're small enough. I mean, we have 3,500 students on campus, so we are a modest-sized university. we have our College of Business and our College of Arts and Sciences work very much together, and everybody feels like they're Bryant alumni. So that I didn't run into any of those issues. And frankly, all of these can work with either side. Right after this, I have a meeting with the College of Arts and Sciences this afternoon, and these are all things that they want their alumni to be doing, including hiring talent and hiring Bryant. So that is something that we don't run into those kinds of issues. Just the nature of our institution is kind of, it's uniform, and in that sense, there are no silos.
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I'm really jealous.
I would imagine a place like Syracuse that would offer a little. It'd be a little bit more challenging to see who would actually own this particular. If you were to do this piece, who would own it and who would it be directed to? And would you have to develop 10 things to do for specific schools, or would there be some crossover there? Or I don't envy you.
Maybe we should do an episode a month from now and see how our rollout went, because we're gonna, for larger schools, we're gonna try rolling out one piece, moving towards one university, one alumni association. My boss says that all the time. It's so important when, at the end of the day, our role is to engage Syracuse alumni, to engage Bryant alumni, to engage Georgetown alumni. I can't believe I just uttered their name, but anyway, a big rivalry for us.
No bad blood.
But really, and that is, and finding that buy-in on campus, I think, is so important for schools who are looking to do this, and to have, you keep mentioning your university relations team, how crucial they were in this, that you can't do this as a small, 3-4 person alumni shop, and that's such a big thing that you learned in this. What would you say lessons learned wise? I know Timmy talked a little bit about it, putting it on the website. Were there any things that you would do differently looking back and rolling this out?
Oh boy, also another good question. I think that I'm glad that the university relations team had us narrow it down. I think that getting it down to 10 is critical. I wanted one for every single possible angle. And, probably given a choice, I might have had 16, and maybe my staff talked me down to 14. and then they worked it down. I think that ability to be concise, to be succinct, to say, okay, we can't highlight every single thing. The school that gave me the original idea, which wasn't an infographic, again, was my graduate school, which is also a very large institution. Thinking along those same lines, they were trying to get people to think like, okay, I'm not, I wasn't in the School of Education, I wasn't in the College of Business or Engineering, that, we were one university. In our case, again, that wasn't an issue. I originally thought, because it took us a little while to bubble to the top. Obviously, university relations has a lot of other demands, and I was wondering, could we do this either with, some simple graphics that Tim or Tyler could find, or could we find an outside artist? I'm so glad we used in-house talent. I'm so glad that we were able to do that, because then that it was another person on the university relations team that made this video and turned it into a living, moving thing. And I still don't know how they did that. So we'll have to share that link, because it's really cute. And those are the kinds of things that I hadn't really even thought about. I think, Tim, you were thinking more along those lines on how you would use it.
Yeah, we were thinking. But if I were to do it all again, I don't know. I think maybe if we could. I don't know. That's such a great question, because it's ever evolving, and we want to see what the reaction is. I don't know. It's maybe. That's such a good question. I don't know.
It's good. If nothing rises to the top right now, it means things are flowing real smoothly, and it'd be great to check back in with you, in a year from now, just to see what the response was like, how that did move your needle in terms of the matrix that you have right now, and just kind of the response that alumni have had. Because I do think just that the video that goes along with it, it's why Mallory was so attracted to this as an episode topic. And I really appreciate both of you sitting down. Is there any final words as we approach 1:45 about your campaign, about your hopes, as to what's next, or anything you're thinking about other than that alumni blog?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a big to-do. I do think, I wonder how evergreen I think of this as being very evergreen. And when I was looking back at what we did before, which was a 8.5 by 11 alumni opportunities, that would, we were profile, we had people's names, so, we were always having to update it. Not that we were losing staff, but things were changing, volunteers were changing. And so that had to be updated every year. This is very evergreen. Now, I imagine at some point we may feel like we have to tweak it, or something else might. I can't imagine what would kick one of these off, but maybe we would find something else that needed to be on here. And then I'm just thinking, what other creative ways what else can we do? What would be creative? I mean, can we turn it into a board game? How wild and crazy can we get? And so that's it. We will, at the year mark on this, which I can't say when this actually, but probably next spring or so, we will look at how we've done, and certainly by our alumni engagement metrics, which we'll have next July, we'll see if we've moved that needle. And if so, we'll probably try to write it up for CASE, for currents, or I think that's important for us to share something that we've developed. I'm pretty active with CASE, the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education, as a faculty member, and so I think that'll be something that we should do, because it's. If the school down the street does the same thing, it's fine. We all have different alumni. So I think it's something that I look forward to seeing yours too.
Oh, it's coming. Should be out next week. I'll have to share it. Hopefully, because homecoming, Orange Central for us, it's right over my shoulder. Homecoming is next week, Thursday to be exact. So we're working on that.
So we've got
last question I would ask is that you mentioned you rolled this out for your seniors at their champagne reception, or talk through some of it. Is there a long-term plan to start this the second a Bryant University student steps on campus? Do you feel better about rolling it out to your seniors? Like, to the alumni piece, absolutely, it's out there, but how about incorporating the student piece?
Yeah, we did a little bit. It's a good question. I don't believe we did anything with students. I was just here this weekend. The freshmen arrived Saturday, juniors and seniors Sunday and Monday. We did some work with orientation, but I don't believe we used it. So obviously there are opportunities around the corner. I think we do work with our Student Alumni Association. That organization falls under Tyler, who couldn't be here today. And so, getting them to understand their responsibilities as alumni is part of it. And so, this probably should be all over campus. You're right. We need banners. That all costs money.
Yeah. And in your budget for you on this sunny Tuesday.
Definitely we'll be using it. Our reunion is the 23rd, 24th, so we've got a couple weeks to go. Record numbers so far, so we're looking, but we will be running this, is that sort of subtle, subliminal, that was the word I was looking for before, subliminal messaging. So. Well,
apparently the Visit Campus Do One Thing is working if your numbers are appearing to be record numbers, so congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it's approaching 1:50. I feel like that flew by. You guys are just so fun to talk to, so thank you for sharing One Thing for Bryant with me this afternoon, and with those who are watching live, and many who will watch when this lives on YouTube forever and ever.
Well, thank you very much, Kim. We appreciate your spending the time with us, and we're glad we connected, and we needed that extra 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Right? Hey, it worked out. Well, hashtag One Thing for Bryant. Congratulations to you, and we can't wait to hear an update a few months from now.
All right, terrific.
All right,
thanks, Colin. Thanks again to our episode sponsors for everything that made this happen today, to M. Stoner, to all of you who watched Higher Ed Live, our Advancement Live episode. Appreciate it. We'll see you again soon. Bye now.